What's going on, y'all? Your boy Darius the Gray here, back in for the video, and this time I'm here once again with some more Avatar: The Last Airbender Netflix reviews. Man, this time I'm reviewing episodes 3 and 4 together in one video, because both these episodes pretty much are like one giant episode spread across two. Really, they take like three different storylines from the original cartoon, three different episodes, and mash them into like two. Actually, they mashed like 4 or 5 story points. It's crazy. It's a lot. All right. So yeah, I'm gonna get into my review of this thing. Spoilers, of course, for the Netflix live action adaptation and of course the original cartoon. So if you haven't seen either, there will be spoilers here. And if you are new here, man, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. All right, I'm on the road now to 500 subscribers. That's my next goal for subscribers, man. I got past 400 thanks to you guys. You guys are awesome, but the journey is not yet complete. We have to get to 500 next so I can at least get some form of monetization going, man, with memberships and supers and all that good stuff. So if you are new, hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you know every time I upload a new video. Also, like the video, helps out the algorithm to push my content, and it's pretty good validation for me. So without further ado, let's get into this review of episodes 3 and 4. Episode 3 was called Omashu. Episode 4 was called Into the Dark. Once again, like these reviews, man, I'm just kind of trying to go through my notes here that I took watching the entire episode, watching both episodes. So overall, as you can see with the pictures here, these two episodes combine a lot, right? They combine Teo and his father, the what do they call him? The Mechanist, right? They combine that story. You remember in the cartoon, Teo and his dad and all his like friends or whatever had taken over, or like went to the Eastern Air Temple, I believe, and basically converted into their home with all their, flying air-powered stuff, right? We get King Boomy. We get a mention of him in episode 3, but he comes into play in episode 4 where they do the Boomy stuff. We get Jet in episode 3, and it continues on to episode 4. There's a lot at play here. You get the plot point in episode 4 where Iroh gets captured by the Earthbenders that happened in the original show. There's so much to get into, but in episode 3 alone, right? Episode 3 alone is mostly about Teo and Jet. It's Teo/Jet, that stuff going on. I thought it was a cool idea to put both of these, take both of these like plot points from the episodes in the cartoon and mash them together in Omashu, right? Because it would save you time from having to go to the individual places, going to whatever little village Jet was at, going to the Eastern Air Temple. You just put them all in one place. I felt like that was a cool idea, a neat way to go, right? And I thought the execution of both of them was pretty good, right? Like the Teo stuff and the Mechanist stuff was never anything that I really cared about in the original cartoon. It was like one of my least favorite episodes. Not as bad as The Great Divide, but one of my least favorite episodes. Getting it here so that it's not like a focus of its own singular episode, I thought that worked fine. I thought Jet worked. The way they worked Jet in is actually really well done in terms of like you get to meet him first without even knowing it. Like I'm sure some people when they first saw him and like they start like he's just this random dude that helps the gang get into Omashu. And he has a connection to Katara. At first, my dumbass, I was just like, is this Haru? Are they gonna do some different thing with Haru here? I didn't even think about Jet at all. I'm sure some people, when they saw the connection that he instantly had with Katara, probably thought, this is Jet. I didn't think about that. It wasn't until he showed up with the, like, when he showed up again, I was just like, wait a minute. And then he takes off like his coat, reveals his armor. I'm just like, oh my god, it's Jet. It's crazy. It was absolutely nuts to see him. I was so glad to see him because Jet's one of my favorite characters in the entire show. One of the most intriguing and interesting characters in the original cartoon. Even though I didn't really care for the Teo stuff in the original cartoon, I do miss the element of, Aang going to the Eastern Air Temple and seeing what they've done to it and being like, you're desecrating this sacred place of my people, and feeling some type of way about that. We don't get that here. But it's a minor thing. Like, honestly, as much as I don't really care for them, they play a big role in like book 3, so I understand why you have to have them there. So that's fine. We do get the cabbage man, the cabbage merchant in this episode. And like they build it up amazingly. They build it up to where like each time he's trying to say like, hey, do you want some cabbages? But like he doesn't even get to say the word cabbages. It's just like he gets cut off at every point. And then finally you get the my cabbages. I can see for people who never watched the original cartoon, like the delivery and the moment, they could be like, that is just hokey and silly. It's a moment that's made specifically for the fans because like it's very dramatic. Like with the camera pan, he's just like, my cabbages. Oh, I really enjoyed that. We do get our first appearance of Azula in this episode in a really creative way. In that it starts off with this like plot to kill the Fire Lord with these rebels or something inside the Fire Nation, and like Azula infiltrates them. It's just like, yeah, I'm gonna help you do it. Like she poses as like a palace servant or something, and then brings it like when it's time for them to go do it. They already know, of course, because of her. Ozai sets them all on fire, and Azula's just sitting there watching and smiling. I'm just like, damn, it's a pretty good introduction to Azula. She doesn't quite have the presence of, obviously, the cartoon Azula. That's just great Delisle and her amazing voice acting, but thought it was a pretty cool way to introduce Azula. We also get Mai and Ty Lee. You can kind of see in the background there. They're in the picture. They're like out of focus, but that's them back there. We get Mai and Ty Lee. I don't think they even say their names, so it's very clearly just like, yeah, Mai and Ty Lee are here already. For the fans who know, and for those who don't, you'll understand it in like the coming seasons or episodes. I don't know if there'll be more episodes. Again, haven't gotten to the rest of the show yet. Also, they do use Azula's theme. They're like doom 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 doom. Like that put a smile on my face. Again, I gotta give the show credit for using the music from the show, because the music from the show is fantastic. The M. Night movie, they ain't use none of it, but they have the music, like the very important music beats that you know and recognize. They're all in here. Gotta love it, man. Also, this is just me being a disgusting male, but like I had to check Azula's actress, who she was, how old she was. She's 21, because I was just like, I'm kind of into her, much like I was into Azula in the cartoon when I was a little kid. It's crazy how that works out. Also, again, another big criticism, continuing from last episode into episode 3, is I don't like what they're doing with Zhao. Like they've changed Zhao into this like failed officer who is now, trying to build his way back up, I guess. But like he's very like meek, like when he's talking to Zuko and Iroh, he's just like, I could, like he's working with them, like he's trying to work with them on the come up type of style instead of being like a direct rival to them, like he's too like meek. It's just like I don't like what they're doing with Zhao. I think Zhao so far is the biggest fumble of the entire show. Every time he's on screen, and there's no hate to the actor. I love the dude, man, but like the way they've chosen to write Zhao just does not work for me. It is the biggest misstep of the entire show. It bugs me every single time. Overall, I'd give the episode like an 8.5 out of 10. I think this was the beginning where I was like, they're maybe doing too much because they're trying to pour too many elements of different episodes into one. Like, it was an interesting fit, the interesting way that they, wove them all together. Like, Jet is after Sai because he thinks Sai is he thinks Sai is working with the Fire Nation. It's like, it takes an interesting path of everything that's going on with Jet and mixing in with the Teo and Sai stuff, and like all the paths are crossing here in Omashu. I thought it was an interesting job at that, but at the same time, it did feel a little disjointed, a little heavy packed in there, and that only continues into episode 4 once you introduce Boomy into the equation, and once you introduce the secret tunnel. Episode 4, they hit the secret tunnel, bro. Like they have Sokka and well, I should say at the end of episode 3, things sort of go to hell, of course, right? With the attack that Jet tries to do, he tries to take out Sai and everything, and all blows up. Eventually you get a point where like Zuko and Iroh were also there. I forgot to mention that they were also there, and again, there was a lot of elements going, and Aang gets, captured by the Earth Benders. So does Iroh because he wants Zuko to escape. Like it's a big mess that ends with Aang and Iroh both in custody in Omashu, which is very interesting because they get a scene with those two talking, which I thought was a pretty good damn decision. But episode 4 is where it just gets even crazier because you have Sokka and Katara trying to find a way to get Aang, so they have to go through the secret tunnel, that's in Omashu. And they get the band in there from the original cartoon. They're singing the secret tunnel. Like as soon as they, because I think it was Teo who first suggested it. There was this secret tunnel that the founders of Omashu used. As soon as he said secret tunnel or whatever, I was just like, they are not doing this, and they did it. But they don't do it with Aang and Katara, obviously leading to their kiss, whatever. I guess because the age differences between the characters, which is the same as it was in the show originally, but maybe I think Katara's actress is 17, Aang's is like 14. Maybe they want to get weird with it and just like, instead we'll do, the love is more about a familial love with Sokka and Katara, right? So they do that. All the while, Iroh's getting taken by the Earthbenders captive, like he did in the episode with Hebai, the panda spirit thing in the cartoon. All the while, Boomy is introduced, and they take an interesting route with Boomy that I really didn't like. It really stuck out like a sore thumb to me. In that Boomy, first off, Boomy and Aang finds out that Boomy is his childhood friend Boomy very early on. They don't waste any time getting there. But then Boomy, I thought the actor did a pretty damn good job portraying him. Like he's got the snort and everything. Like his everything about his mannerisms and performance as Boomy is pretty good, right? But the writing fails him because they have Boomy be very old and bitter and mad that Aang left. And like he's trying to teach Aang, like you gotta learn sometimes when to quit or something like that. Like it's just choosing to have Boomy mad at Aang just didn't work for me. It's just like Boomy would not have been mad at Aang if he knew, like he knows that Aang didn't willingly leave for 100 years. So why would he just be mad at him? And I was hoping it was just all a facade, but it wasn't. Like he was real deal mad that Aang left, and I really didn't enjoy that change. I thought it was a good lesson that he's trying to teach Aang. Like the lesson itself, the message itself about Aang should just learn when to quit, and Aang's just like, nah, I'm not gonna quit like you, alright? I'm going to fight. I thought it's an interesting message, but it really shouldn't be coming from Boomy, especially when you think about book 2 in the show, where like Boomy quits, yeah, but he quits because he's like, there's always a better opportunity to get the win. Like you gotta know when to quit and then how to use that to your advantage later on, right? And it feels like they were trying to go for that, but they took it in a more serious direction where Boomy's just really angry and bitter. I just really, really did not enjoy that. I feel like that message should have came from Zhang, who I think, if I remember correctly, they cut from this series, at least as far as I know. He could show up in one of these episodes, but I could have sworn I heard that they had cut him from the show. I feel like Zhang would have been a perfect person to be like, hey man, just quit fighting, just learn when to stop, because he did, right? Like he stopped being part of the Fire Nation and he quit, and he didn't even want to like train, firebending anymore, because he's just like, it's dangerous, it's too dangerous to teach, it's destructive, I don't want to teach it, none of that. I feel like Zhang would have been a better person to teach Aang that lesson and be super bitter and upset, because that's what he was in the show, than Boomy. But that's just my 2 cents on that. This episode also gives us a lot with Zuko and Iroh, like a lot of Iroh development. Like we get a flashback to like his son's funeral, because remember his son had died during the war in Ba Sing Se, which caused Iroh to give up and stop. And we get this really good scene with him, this Earth Kingdom soldier who's just like, my brother died in Ba Sing Se because of you, like, and him really having that hatred in his heart for Iroh. Like this show has such good moments. Like I think, again, I said it before in like episode maybe 1, in my episode 1 review. The additional stuff, like the new stuff that they add to the show, a lot of it is so damn good. But the subtractions, the changes where they take stuff away and they change it a lot of times just gets on my nerves a little bit. But the additional stuff, the new stuff that we wouldn't have seen in the show, in the cartoon, that they add, stuff like that. It's really good, man. It's a real mixed bag, this show so far with me, where it's a lot of moments where they really feel like they're embodying the show, right? Sometimes they'll have scenes and shots and stills ripped straight from the show and the music straight from the show. And then they'll have moments where they do additional new stuff where it really fits and still works well, but then they'll do stuff where like they change up and it just doesn't work at all. That's just kind of where I'm at with the show so far. This episode in particular, with all that it continued to juggle with the Teo and Sai. You got the secret tunnel. You got Boomy. You got Zuko and Iroh. You still got Jet that they ended up having to resolve at the end. I feel like it's too much. This episode especially was too much. They took like 5 different plot points and put it into one episode, continuing from episode 3. And I don't know what the solution is. Maybe you just give them a couple more episodes, guys. I think it's just 8-episode season. If you would have gave them like 10, maybe 12 episodes, you could have spread this stuff out more. But this episode really was the one where I'm just like, you're packing a lot, you're doing too much, you need to calm down. And it's crazy because the episode was like, minus the credits, it's like 45-minute long, which is a pretty lengthy episode, but like, it feels like even with the long episodes, it's still not enough time for things to breathe, and they're still doing too much. So that's my biggest complaint about the entire series so far, along with, how much I hate what they're doing with Zhao. But hopefully it gets better. We'll see in the coming episodes. But anyway, that's my review of episodes 3 and 4 of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys thought, and I will see you guys in the next video. Oh, wait, no, I almost forgot. I was doing my outro. I almost forgot to give it a grade for episode 4. Episode 4, I give like a 7.5. Probably my least favorite of the episodes so far, just because of how much I felt like they were doing way too much. So yeah, give it a 7.5. But anyway, I will see you guys in the next video. Make sure you subscribe, hit that like button. Peace.